Par Podcast. I'm your host, Drew D. Alberto, from the Winners Award Group showroom here in Coconut Creek, and we're welcoming on one of our good friends and longtime 6 Degrees members, Michael Wild, today.
It's great to be here.
Thanks for coming up to the showroom. First time here, right?
Yeah, showroom's amazing. The detail that each award has is really impressive, and also just the creativity of coming up with different types of awards for different tournaments and fantasy football championships and things like that. It's just amazing.
We try and have a little bit of fun while we're at work and then go play as much golf as humanly possible.
That's the goal.
So yeah, I'm in here like 3 days a week, and then the other 2 days are for golfing with clients and prospects.
Nice.
That's the Rich Rogers business model that I learned 6 or 7 years ago. So,
absolutely.
And, Mike, you're kind of notorious in 6 Degrees in circles for being this big philanthropist, getting involved in tons of nonprofits. They all, of course, have golf tournaments, or at least, they should if they don't.
Yeah.
So, we run in the same kind of golf tournament charity circles, and I know you see Mark Infante, who's been on here, and will be again, and guys like Tim Campbell that do a lot of philanthropy. And then you're also known as a jokester, making wisecracks and cutting it up, and that's a big part of golf, though.
Absolutely. I mean, if you can't tease the people you're playing with, there's no point in playing.
You're really playing with the wrong people.
I agree. I mean, I think even the pros. You remember, was it last year or the year before, when Tiger was playing with his good friend Justin Thomas, and he outdrove him by so much that he handed him a tampon? It was hysterical. He got in trouble for it a little, but it was such a good joke.
Did he really get in trouble for it, though?
Only with the people that don't really follow golf.
I feel like he got away with it.
Yeah.
I feel like he got away. No one's canceling Tiger Woods.
No.
He's about as uncancelable as it gets. I mean, most of the guys on tour talk about how, and it doesn't matter, where they came from, what country, what nationality, none of that. They play golf because they watch Tiger Woods play golf. I mean, Jack may be the GOAT if you ask Sean Kicker, and we're not going to get into that, but, Tiger really helped grow the sport.
Oh, more than anyone. I mean, that's the debate, always with, in every sport, is what player had the most influence. So you could say, in golf, it's clearly Tiger Woods. I mean, Tiger, right now, the golfers that we have today would not exist without Tiger. I mean, Bryson and Brooks and John Rahm and Scotty Scheffler, they were too young to be watching Jack. They were watching Tiger.
Yeah, and we're almost, I mean, as far as when I started picking up golf, 6 or 7 years ago, I think right around the same as you, I didn't watch golf as a kid. I watched the NBA, and I watched football.
Yeah.
And there might have been an occasional hockey game in there once we got the Panthers down here.
Sure.
And then there was a lot of hockey games once the Panthers came.
Sure.
But, did you watch golf when you were a kid or not really?
The first golf memory I have, I was probably 18, or it was definitely a teenager when Greg Norman blew the Masters. And the reason I remember, I didn't even watch the whole thing. I just remember Dan Patrick and Keith Olbermann doing SportsCenter, and I remember Keith Olbermann doing the call, and he said, Greg Norman has such a lead, it would take a disaster the size of the Titanic for him to lose this thing, and the first shot he hits is into the water, and he goes, Captain, I think we've hit something.
Those damn jinxing commentators, man, they're the worst. And he didn't hear that, I'm sure.
No, yeah.
So it had nothing to do with it, but, golfers and other athletes are wildly superstitious.
Oh, totally. I mean, you look at what these guys do, especially take it to the nth degree, not even superstition, but Bryson was just talking about how what he does is with every golf ball, he says no golf ball is exactly centered. Did you see that?
Yeah.
So he puts them all in Epsom salts in a bathtub, and wherever they float to the top, he goes, that's the side that's lighter than the other side, so he puts a little dot, and he can control whether the ball goes right or left because of it. It's insane.
And we're more thinking, well, if I'm hitting over water and I hit a scuffed up ball that hit 3 trees, it'll probably go on the green. But if I hit a brand new Callaway or Titleist,
right in the water,
it's in the drink.
100%. Always. That's always the way. When I have the cheap balls, I'm always like, that's a water ball. When we have par 3 right over water onto an island green, that's when we use the cheap ball.
We've played before. I know your strategy.
Exactly.
So I tell you, it's a fun thing, and maybe for the 100-hole challenge this year, I should soak all the balls in Epsom salts and
that's
get
the goal.
Advantage. That way. I mean, that would assume that I took 700 swings a day leading up to the thing.
Yeah.
Like Bryson probably takes 700
Ridiculous.
to 1,000 swings a day and spends the other time thinking about how he's going to play the golf course and mapping it out. And when you go through, and I mean, I remember we were talking one day about how Phil Mickelson talks about how he's hitting a shot.
Yeah.
And he goes through 800 different iterations and some kind of crazy calculus that he does in his head.
Yeah.
But that's why they're close to the pin when they hit it.
Exactly. Well, that's the funniest thing. Also, when one of these pro golfers and they hit an approach shot and it lands 6 feet from the pin and they go, "Oh, he's not happy with that." I'm like, "Not happy with that? I'd kill for that shot."
Yeah, and I'm like, "Oh man, I landed it a little over the green or a little left or a little right. I could probably putt from there. I'm putting for birdie. So what if I'm not on the green?"
The thing I go, "Oh, you know what? That was missed the green to the left, but it was pin high. That's a good shot."
But it was pin high. I hit it the right distance. I should have just aimed better.
Exactly.
Or followed through with my hips. Or
I always blame the course architect. The course architect is never lining up with my swing.
Maybe we should be our own course architects.
Exactly.
And then just draw it up like, okay, I
Giant
know.
field.
Like Mike Wild is going to slice on the first hole with no warm-up, no matter what. So, like, when we play 13 at Grand Oaks and you're always in those trees on the right, we would just design the course so that, you know, you need that slice shot for a dog leg right. And, you know, 210 yards perfectly landed is the spot.
I think so. I think even, you know, because if I use my driver, I'm definitely ending up in the middle of 12, you know, hitting off of 13T. So what I should do is, let's just put like a tarp or something that makes it, when it goes, instead of going into the trees and onto 12, it rolls down onto the 13 green.
I mean, why a tarp? Why not something bouncier like
like
trampoline material? So then you could slice it way out there. It would bounce right on the green.
I like it.
Okay, fair enough. We'll get Stan Shackney to give us some tips because we know he's good at fundraising. He's been the #1 guy at 100 holes for 4 years in a row.
I just donated to him again this year.
Damn it, man! He beat me to it again. I was just about to send you an email today.
You know what he does? Here's his trick, and this is what you should
Don't donate to Drew. I want to win.
He goes like this. He has it pulled up on his phone, and he goes, "Mike, here," and he just hands it to me. So at 6 degrees, he just handed it to me, and I was like, "Okay."
Now we're giving away the Stan Shackney fundraising secrets. Okay, so it's a much more straightforward, linear thinking approach. Like, if I can get him to put a credit card in on my phone right now, plus he can now steal your credit card and go shopping for building materials.
Well, they did ask me if I wanted to save my card to his phone. I thought it might save me time next year, but I decided not to.
Yeah, save you time.
Well, it's the same way I date girls. You know, I go to the bar, but without even talking to them, I go, "Hey, have you just put your phone number right in there?" You know,
good. Now we're getting canceled. Now we're talking. So, and you know what? I got another one for you. We talked about talking smack in golf, and I didn't watch the presidential debate at all. I am so far disjointed from watching the clown show that I have no interest.
You don't like WWE?
That literally looks like what it is right now. And I did watch 2 minutes and 20 seconds of the debate, and it was the same too many. I probably watched it 4 times because Ed Colo, our buddy from 6 Degrees and longtime friend of the family, says, you didn't watch the debate, you have to watch this 2 minutes and 20 seconds so you can talk about it on the podcast. So, and of course I'm getting to the part where Trump and Biden relentlessly talked crap about each other's golf game.
It was hysterical. It was the only time that both were coherent. So that was good. But I did find it hysterical. I even posted on Facebook the day after the debate. I said, you know what? I expect my politicians to lie to me about foreign affairs, about taxes, even about social issues. But let's keep the scorecards honest, boys. I was not watching a 6 debate of 3. That is not what was happening.
And then we had the suggestion that we have the match.
I would love it.
And somebody actually suggested Grand Oaks for that, and I said, well, what about just doing it at the park? Because they had the match there already. Just go right back there. And I think we should just skip the election. And I told you, just skip the election and let them play golf. I'm in.
Well,
and then let the winner play Scotty Scheffler Congratulations, President Scheffler, because I think, if we had the choice, we'd take Scheffler over any of the options.
I would 100% take Scheffler. He's a God-fearing man. He never gets in trouble except when he's in Kentucky, and then he gets arrested for driving
and that's
around.
his street cred now. He's been to the joint, he's got some street cred.
Yep. I think, I'll tell you this now, because, obviously now that we're on, July 23rd today, I guarantee Kamala is not a 6. So I don't know how she's going to fare on the fairways.
I mean, shouldn't you have to play golf to be a president of
anything?
Of anything, right?
I agree.
A company, a country, a city, run a city. I mean, you got to be able to play golf because that's where all the business relationships are made.
It is true. I mean, even like to your point about Grand Oaks, actually, the last president that played there was Obama. He was there, and he was playing with Alonzo Mourning, and that was a big deal just to have. But even, I would say I can't remember a president that didn't golf. I mean, both Bushes golfed. Clinton, funny enough, Clinton was a golfer, but John Daly had said, because John Daly's played with the last 4 presidents.
Okay.
And he said that Bill Clinton was the biggest cheater he ever played with. He said because Trump would lie about his score, but Bill wouldn't even finish the hole. He would just put me down for a par. So, I guess his handicap, he knew it was time to pick up.
Well, you learn very easily who you want to hang out with and do business with on the golf course.
100%.
So, you see, I think that should be treason.
I
Cheating
agree.
at golf, just hang them right now.
My biggest line that I use when I'm playing with, I got a couple of friends that fall into that category where they take liberties, and my biggest line when they're like, I'm gonna hit it again, or I'm gonna put down this for, and I go, we're not playing for money. Okay, you keep your own score, whatever score you want to put down, I'm good with that. As soon as there's money, though, I don't care if it's $1 a hole. I'm like, the hell you are? You're hitting that ball.
The ball is on the lip. Is that a gimme? No, that's not a gimme. No such thing. Yep. And I'll tell you, I think that, and Rich Rogers taught me how to make short putts.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty good at putting.
Yep.
And sometimes I'll get to the green in 3 when I should have been there in 2.
Yeah.
But I'll one putt, or I'll duff a shot in the sand, and then I'll still make bogey because I can putt. So I almost don't like giving gimmies just because I want to be able to putt everything and make it one day when I need to, right? If we're on a golf trip in Streamsong and we're like, okay, let's make it interesting. $1 a hole, nothing crazy, nobody's getting hurt or loser buys dinner or whatever.
Yeah.
Even if it's that, I want to be able to make the short putts.
I agree completely. And you know what? The reason why people force their friends to make the putts in those, like when they're pressing or when they're competing, is because most people, they take that gimme. You're right. And then they don't practice that, and then they get nervous.
Yeah.
And then obviously we're not dealing with the putt like Rory had to deal with a few weeks ago.
That's another animal.
That's different. Yeah. We most of us miss that putt, but on that angle. But I never get nervous. Who helped me? So Rich helped you, which Rich is probably the best golfer both of us know. But Art Bailey, another friend of the group, helped me where he saw that what I was doing with short putts was I was just doing a half putt, like just hitting the ball and not following through. So even if it's 3 feet,
you want
keep your
less
head down, follow
backswing
through.
and follow through.
Yeah, follow through. Yeah. Guide the ball there, and it improved my short putting immensely.
And Art has a great short game.
Yeah,
his chipping, he chips at Woodmont because he lives there all the time. And what do you do? And Sean talks about this all the time, is learn the right technique and practice it.
Yeah.
And he has the right technique and he practices it. So that's why his short game's really good.
Yeah, that's 100%. Yeah. The more you do it, that's why I'm great out of the sand, because I can't avoid the sand.
Well, and that in rescue shots, right? You say Rich Rogers plays boring golf.
100%.
Right? He hits it down the middle. On or near the green.
Yep.
He chips it close or puts it in, and then, he makes par or birdie.
Yep, my biggest criticism to good golfers, I want you all to hear this. If you're a good golfer, you are not enjoying golf because you can't have a hero shot without a first bad shot. So hero shots are what golf is made.
Hit it into the fescue by the roots.
I had a shot. Well, I've had shots like that. I had a shot just recently that I was playing over at Fort Lauderdale Country Club. I had a bad tee shot. Well, it wasn't a bad tee shot. The distance was fine, but it ended up rolling right next to an air conditioner unit, or like one of these big, I don't even know if it's an air conditioner, but one of the big electric boxes.
Right.
I had no backswing. I couldn't do a backswing. So I have a buddy that he's a scratch golfer, but he has this weird swing where he just raises the club above his head and then pulls back and goes down. So it's no backswing, it's just like above and a torque twist. So I did that, hit it 200 yards, 2 feet from the hole. Now, if my tee shot was good, I would have been in the middle of the fairway. Do you know what would have happened after there? I would have duffed it. So I like the hero shots. The hero shots are amazing.
I get it. And no, hero shots are fun, and it's funny. I was watching something with Bert Kreischer, the comedian, and he was telling him, I don't play golf for the right reasons. I'm always gonna go for it because I don't care if I shoot 120. I'm only gonna be talking about that one shot, 220 over water to land it on the green, and I made that one shot.
Exactly, 100%. How many times do you hear people say like, "Oh, I made this 40-foot putt," right? Yeah. And they're always bragging about it. Why were you so far from the hole? It's because you're not good. Because you're like us.
What if it was a 40-foot putt for birdie, though?
Well, it's a 40-foot putt for birdie on a par 3.
And they got big, giant greens.
If it was for eagle, then great. Then great.
You're a harsher critic than me, man. I'm like, if I get 18 bogeys, that's a 90.
That's great.
That's a pretty good day.
Do you know what the thing is? And I know this is the most obvious thing. Every golfer out there is going to say, well, duh. Is the more, like, even just one stroke lower takes so much more. Like, if you think about it, like you said, like, I try to play bogey golf. That's a 90. So, my goal this year is to hit an 85. My best score has been an 87.
Me too. I'm with you. Yeah. I'm gonna set the same goal. Now you've inspired me.
Yeah. So think about how hard it is to get from 87 to 85. And it's only 2 strokes. But the problem is every one bad stroke is 4 strokes on your card.
The one in the water.
Yeah.
The one you don't get out of the sand.
Correct.
The one that's behind a tree and you're like, oh, I can make it through there.
Exactly.
Course management is the only way we're getting those strokes.
It's true. And putting. You have to make those 1 putts. Because you can 2 putt every hole and it seems good because I didn't have any 3 putts. But that's bogey golf. 2 putting every hole.
And then, I'm like backwards because my short game's better than getting to the green.
Yeah.
So last couple lessons, all Sean and I worked on was irons and the driver. Because I hit my woods fairly well. Yeah. But, like you said, if you hit that 265 yards straight down the middle, perfect drive, it lands in a nice plush area of carpet. Yep. And then you duff that second shot. You're 120 away and you top it and you wind up 30 yards short. Yep. Or you thin it and it goes over the green.
Yep. And the way to get around that is anything around. See, I'm actually pretty good, like you are. I'm good with my short game. Like, my 56 is great. I don't mind the sand. I'm really deadly with, like, a 9 with a little bump and run.
I got the lob wedge down. Man.
Lob is great. And even the putting, especially at the courses we're familiar with, like Grand Oaks, putting's good. Where I am, where I struggle is that 175 to 195. Because it's so tough to have a straight and clean swing at that distance. So that's why, honestly, even on hole 5 from the brown tees, it's about 215, 216, something like that, to get to the green or to get to the pin, depending on where it's placed. I use my driver because I'd rather, there's so much green behind there, I'd rather hit a light driver and just be like, okay, so I'm 20 yards past the green, than try to hit a perfect 3-wood or a perfect 5-wood and end up in the water.
And no, I mean, I think I played with a guy, on Sunday actually. We were up in Atlantis Country Club in Palm Beach, up in Atlantis, Florida, which is, the tiniest little city ever. It's got 2,100 residents. And I had somebody bail on me at the last second. They were injured, and they paired us with a guy who was a member there. Yeah. And I guess it's a semi-private club now, and this guy literally played the best course management I've ever seen because he wanted to be 100 yards out every single approach shot. Yep. And he didn't make it every time, but if he missed, he was 120 or he was 95 or he was 80 or so he had and he was lights out from that distance. So he was playing to the distance he wanted to hit from.
It's very smart. I mean, it's funny because we play 6 degrees. We get some people get 7 holes, we get 9. But it's funny, like you mentioned 13. So I use my driver when we're playing in 6 degrees because I'm like, well, what the hell? Maybe I can get to the green, right? Who knows? But when I'm really playing, the smart play is 7-iron, 7-iron. I got 7-iron, 7-iron. I'm on the green.
And you're on the green.
Yeah.
And it's a technical spot because you got sand on the left, you got trees on the right, you got some room behind it, but not a huge amount.
Exactly.
And Brian Appel, who probably is rivals Rich for the best golfer.
Yeah, Brian's excellent. Yeah.
Brian, I was playing with him, and he's like, "Yeah, you need to know where to miss."
Exactly.
And it's like, okay, that's a whole nother level from what we knew 5 or 6 years ago.
Oh, totally.
You
I
know?
mean, well, because before we were just like, oh, I got it in the air. You know, oh, it went straight. It's like, now you're right.
I didn't lose it.
I mean,
First was I didn't lose it.
Yes, correct.
I didn't lose it in the woods or the water.
Well, you know what's funny? That's the funny thing. So, like, even I just played 18 holes at Grand Oaks a few weeks ago, and I played all 18 with one ball, which to me was a great round. Now, my score at the end of the round, I think, was like a 91, though. So I still didn't get into the 80s, but I didn't lose any balls. So, there's a win there.
Right, you should at least get -2 for that, and then get an 89.
The biggest change in golf, if I could change any rule, it would be that if you hit the ball within, I'm going to be reasonable, within a foot of the hole, right? The next stroke only counts as half. Because how many putts do you have that they go like 2 inches from the hole, or it stops right at the hole, and it counts as a full stroke? It's not fair. It's just not fair.
It's an interesting point, and maybe Liv will adopt that.
Liv should. They already got rid of 18 holes. They only have 54, so you might as well widen the cup or half a stroke for the putts.
Man, the old school golfers that we know will be cursing you for this comment right now.
Yep.
Rich is pissed, and he didn't even hear it yet.
I'll tell you the other thing.
Chris Burr is calling me on the other line right now. If my phone wasn't on Do Not Disturb, I'd be answering
exactly.
his call.
Well, the other thing that I do, and I know on a PGA tour I would get penalized for doing it, is because we hit the ball, like we've already mentioned, all over the freaking place. It's not like we're hitting it clean in the fairway over and over and over.
I'm getting better at it, but yes, you're right.
My thing is, by the time I get to the green, sometimes that ball is scuffed. I am not putting with that ball. I'm putting my marker down. I am putting that ball in this pocket. I'm taking the clean ball in this pocket, and I'm putting.
Is that legitimately against the PGA rules?
Yeah, PGA doesn't allow you. Have to play the same ball the whole hole, then you can change it for the next hole. So Rich actually changes his ball, I think every 2 holes, he said one time. Like, he used a new ball no matter what. But for me, like I said, I try to use one ball the whole day. I like to have a special putting ball in this pocket that I keep there the whole time, and then this pocket is the.
Well, I don't think even in a money game with the crew that we will go golfing.
Nobody's gonna give us a hard time.
They probably all do. I do that. I didn't know it was illegal.
I didn't either until I asked Rich, and he told me it was.
Don't ask Rich.
Yeah.
You don't want to be asking him golf. Unless you want the real answer, you don't want to be asking Rich anything about golf.
Yeah.
What about this one? We had this big debate about when is a hole-in-one a hole-in-one.
Oh,
and
so you mean like if it didn't go all the way in, like it's stuck on the pin?
No, not even like that. Like if you're playing in a par 3 course, according to the USGA rules, it doesn't count as a hole-in-one.
No,
or if you don't complete a whole 18 holes in the round, it doesn't count as a hole-in-one. So what's your take on that?
I think I will tell you this. I'll say that if I just recently I was up in Colorado, and one of the holes, it was a full course, a par 72 course, but one of the holes, the tee box was under construction, so they shifted it. It would have been a par 4. They made it into a par 3.
So there was an extra par 3.
Yeah, and it was 200 yards, and I hit just a brilliant shot. Now it wasn't a hole-in-one, but it got on the green. So, but if that would have gone in, totally would have counted that as a hole-in-one.
If the jerk who put the hole on the green would have just put it in the right spot, I would say
it should have been.
And so, Lou and Nick were having a debate about it at lunch with me one day at Winners, and I had Sean on the podcast, and I asked him, like, listen, Sean, you're the only one that the opinion actually accounts, and he goes, look, if it's your first shot on the hole and it goes in the hole.
Hole-in-one.
That's a hole-in-one.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, okay. So I sent that clip to Lou because he disagreed.
Yeah.
So I said, look, the closest I've been to a hole-in-one was on the 96th hole of the 100-hole challenge.
Yeah.
And since that wasn't like a regulation 18, But listen, I was exhausted. It was one of the hottest days in the history of Pembroke Pines. We were at Hollybrook, and we were basically just trying to survive the thing at that point.
Was it from the actual tee box?
It was from the actual tee box.
Then all I would do is I'd write down on that ball, like, what hole was it?
Number 96.
No, but I mean, what hole of the course?
Oh, I think it was hole 13.
Okay, I would write
13 or 15.
Hole 13, Hollybrook, write the date, hole in one, done.
And then I could have got one of these plaques and shirts and all that stuff. So that's what I said.
You know, the only problem, though, you have is with the not from a counting it standpoint, but I had a buddy that hit a hole in one that his card though was so bad.
Yeah.
And he wanted to keep the card, but he shot like a 96.
He had to cut that hole out of the thing.
And he shot the hole in one at like hole 17, so he was already having a crappy round.
Well, mine wouldn't have even been, here's the scorecard, mine wouldn't have been, look, I was on the 96th hole. That's more impressive than any hole in one any of you have ever had. So I'm putting the trophy up.
I think it counts. I play this course up in Melbourne Beach. It's a beautiful ocean course, but it's a par 62.
Okay.
Right? It's got no par 5s, but it does have par 4s and par 3s, and there's a lot of hurdles and obstacles in the way. If I hit a hole in one on there,
it counts.
It counts.
No, same with the Palm Beach par 3.
Yeah.
Or Coral Ridge, Reese Jones par 3. Like, if you hit a hole in one, it's a hole in one.
Absolutely.
All right. You heard it here first. Mike Wilde says it counts.
Hole in one. I'm a lawyer, so I know.
Speaking of being a lawyer, you have a successful practice in plantation with some partners. You've had that for a good
15 years.
While. 15 years. Yeah. And, golf networking and charity events is a good portion of the business that you guys bring in as a team.
Sure.
So give us the transition between, being a lawyer, loving golf, and then using golf for business.
Well, I'll tell you, so, I believe that no person is successful without a lot of other people wanting them to be. So the key is getting out there, meeting as many people as possible, and, really forming relationships, not just, this fake sales nonsense that sometimes do. That's why I don't really go to a lot of chamber events or stuff like that. I did when I first started out, because you had to be everywhere. I had a wide open schedule. But if someone just walks up to me with a business card, I'm like, what, you want me to throw this out for you? Like,
you're never going to remember the person unless you had some sort of connection that makes you want to say, let's go, to the driving range, to get a drink, to come to my office and see what I do.
And all things being equal, you want to do business with people you like and trust. Even being unequal, you still want to do business with people you like and trust. So I actually, a lot of times I don't even carry business cards at all. I'm just like, give me your cell phone. Like, all right, we're gonna hang out. I'm gonna text you later, and we'll schedule golf or lunch or whatever it might be, and then you have the ability to make it less formal, make it more of an engaging opportunity. The other thing from a business standpoint, I mean, I very much enjoy what I do as far as the estate planning, the asset protection, the probate, but I more enjoy the networking, and whether it be, I love playing golf obviously, but whether it be in our golf group or through the nonprofit community. I started out in the nonprofit community very early on in my career. So I started my law firm in 2009. I think I was on my first board in 2010. And it was because, number one, they always like estate planning attorneys because we do the plan giving part of it. But also, it's very rare to find a young estate planning attorney, and at that time I was 30, and they said, oh my God, all our board members are retiring and dying off. We need young board members. This is perfect, 2 birds, 1 stone. And then from that point, once you're on one board, they all want you. And, it's time, treasure, and talent. So at that time, I had a ton of time, not as much treasure. Talent was debatable.
Still is.
Yeah, still is. And now 15 years later, I'm the incoming vice chair for Boys and Girls Club, the current chair for Handy, the current chair for Arc Broward, the past chair of 211 Broward, and then I'm also on the Broward Sheriff's Advisory Council. I do the American Cancer Society Pink Jacket, Real Men Wear Pink, Nova Southeastern Ambassador Board, and the chair of their Major Gift Society for NSU, even though I never went there.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
Partridge in a pear tree.
All right.
The big question that people ask me is, when do you have time with 2 kids and all the charities and the golf to do the work? Yeah. And I'm like, that's why I'm hiring. So if you're looking for a job, everyone out there, if you know estate planning,
Are you hiring attorneys or assistants or grunt workers or all of the above?
So I like being all attorneys. So I'm the sole owner of my firm. I have 3 non-equity partners right now, and I have 1 non-lawyer. The non-lawyer, Pam, has been with me the longest, but she does more administrative work. So she greets the clients, get some coffee, does the printing and binding and scanning and stuff, but not actually any client interaction except that intro. I like the fact that when my clients call the office, they always get an attorney. It's never a paralegal. It's never a
legal
drafter,
assistant or something like that.
Yeah, so they always get someone who can answer their questions. And I have some clients that are a little more high end or need more hand holding, like high end business owners or taxable clients or people with asset protection issues like lawsuits. They just want to talk to me, and that's fine. They have my cell phone and they call me directly. But if they call the office, they're going to get an attorney.
Okay. All right, makes sense to me. And I mean, with all these huge corporate firms out there, there's something to be said for getting an attorney on the phone.
No, it's
you
true.
Need an attorney.
It's hard.
In general, people don't like attorneys until they need an attorney.
Exactly.
So
Nate Bargatze said one time, he said, should I have a lawyer? Everyone says I have, like I'm going to call my lawyer. Like I don't have a lawyer. So I feel like everyone, it's kind of like politicians. Like they say everyone hates senators, but they like their senator. Everyone hates lawyers, but they like their lawyer. So yeah, the good thing is I'm a lover, not a fighter. So no litigation, just transactional work. Everything's flat fee. And
as you remind us all the time, the death rate in
Florida
is 100%. So they can call you before they die, or their family has to call you after they
die. And both calls are fine. The second one is more expensive.
It's a lot more expensive. Yeah. So call Mike before you die.
That's the goal.
Any golf events that we should be aware of, or any trips that you're taking, or anything you want to share with us?
My next tournament that I'm playing, scheduled. I'm sure I'm playing more because I think Boys and Girls Club has one before this, but I'm playing in the Children's
in October.
Yeah, and Children's Harbor also in October, so we're going to be playing in that. You mentioned Mark, so Mark and Fonte and I, because we're both involved in a lot of the same charities,
we
take turns like sponsoring stuff.
Okay.
So he even told me, that's why I know I'm playing on his golf. Yeah, because I bought the last 2 tables, so this time will be him. But we go back and forth, so we'll be playing in that event. Actually, Mark and I, the last time we played, and this is not my usual game, but for him it is, because Mark's like an 8. We played in the Weston Rotary tournament at Weston Hills.
Yep.
And we shot a legit 60 without faking. We lost by 4 strokes because it's a charity tournament. But he hit 5 drives over 300, and I couldn't miss an approach shot. It was like the best we paired ever. But hopefully we'll repeat that at the Children's Harbor tournament.
I love stories like I played in the Celebrity Broadcasters tournament a couple years back.
Sure.
With my team was me, a guy named Leon that played professional baseball and highlight, and now he's basically almost a professional golfer. A guy named Brian Cunningham who used to play professional soccer, and he's working his way up to try and be a professional golfer.
Yeah.
And Sean Kicker.
Yeah, nice.
And I was just happy I got to hit some best balls.
Exactly, right.
Because, Sean doesn't miss a fairway.
Oh, I'm sure.
Ever.
Yeah.
Like, if he misses a fairway, I will fall over fainting.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't hit it terribly long now that he's 53 or 54.
Sure.
But it is straight as an arrow.
That's all you need.
And I tell you, I hit my greatest achievement. I have 2 great achievements on the golf course. One was I got Jen Davis with the exploding ball trick.
Nice.
I hope I shared that video with you, because if I didn't, you're missing out. And then the second is I hit a better shot out of the sand than Sean.
Nice.
Because when Sean gets in the sand, like most pros, he thinks that ball's going in the hole.
Yeah.
Not, I hope it gets on the green.
Yeah.
And I don't skull it, like we might think.
Yeah.
But that ball's going in the hole.
Do you know what, though? I'll tell you. So I wonder about playing with, because I've played with guys who pound the ball, right? And I'll never hit it farther than them. So sometimes I'll be using driver off the deck because I'm just all right, that's my only chance.
You hit first and putt last.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm a hit first and putt last guy.
A lot of times people will say to me all right, Mike, just put one out there. You're not gonna outdrive us, so just put it out. But with Sean, because he's so accurate, but he's not far. Does he instead say, just try to pound one, just try to get one, just crush it?
He doesn't say anything. He just says swing smooth.
Nice.
That's all he tells me on the course. Now, if we're in practice session, then he tells me a lot of other stuff.
Yeah, sure.
But that's useful stuff, right? Because like we said, you got to learn the right technique, because otherwise you're just practicing the wrong technique.
Well, you know what's great
which
about...
ain't going to get you better.
Well, you know what's great about both of our games, and with muscle memory, you know, we don't have to think about the things like, okay, I better bend over and I got to do this and I got to say this. You know what? If I hit a bad shot, I already know what I did wrong. Swung too fast. Always. I either gripped too hard or I swung too fast. That's always what it is. That's why the greatest round I ever played was on 2 hours of sleep and half a Adderall.
Oh my goodness.
You stay focused and you're hungover, and that's the way to go. Slow.
I can't even imagine.
Head down, slow and smooth.
I tell you, the only time I drink on the course is in charity events, because I
Really?
know it doesn't matter, because if I'm drinking when I'm trying to play, for some reason the second alcohol touches my lips, that's it. It's like off a cliff.
Well, it's funny. So when Haley comes around with the golf cart at Oaks, she'll come around usually right after I finish hole 3. And if I'm playing well, I'll be like, not yet. Not yet. If I am not playing well, then I'll be like, yes, I need a double John Daly right now, please.
A bunch of my balls are in the water, so I need something to drink.
Well, when 6 Degrees, before 6 Degrees in Full Swing started, you know, Rich had invited me to his other 6 Degrees group, which I didn't even know how to swing a golf club. And so I showed up for that 18-hole group, and I remember we tee off just after 9 o'clock. And the cart girl comes around probably about 4 holes in. So it's like figure it's around 10 a.m. And she says, anyone want anything? I was like, I'll take a Gatorade, I'll take this. I go, yeah, can I get a double Grey Goose and grapefruit? And somebody goes, you just order Grey Goose? I go, and grapefruit. It's breakfast, you know? So I always used to just use golf as an excuse to get drunk. Now I try to find that balance where it's like just lubricated enough.
Oh, you're like, you use the bowling analogy.
Absolutely.
Like you get 2 beers in and you can bowl better. 3 beers and that's it.
100%.
Okay, got it.
Again, same thing with dating. You know?
Oh boy.
3 drinks in, I'm suave. 6 drinks in, I'm sloppy.
Well, at least you know what the line is.
Exactly.
At least you know the line is. So, well, listen, Mike, it's been fun having you. Always looking forward to our next golf outing, whether it be at 6 Degrees or Jacaranda like last time or wherever. And thanks for coming up. Thanks for spending the time on the On Par podcast, and you're welcome back anytime.
Awesome. Had a great time. Thank you.